And our very own wise woman is the hugely entertaining Emma Freud. Who do you have with you?
I've got the stage manager.
Okay.
I've got Fabian Riggle. Isn't that a great name? The man who invented secret cinema, the most glorious, adventurous, fully immersive film experience imaginable.
I can't wait.
Neither can I. Okay, imagine being asked to pay £50 for a ticket to a movie in a remote venue, the address of which you don't know and won't be given until the day before, with a strict fancy dress code in order to watch a film, the title of which you are not told. This year, the entrepreneur Fabian Riggle managed to persuade over 100,000 people to buy one of those tickets, and consequently gave them a night of drama, adventure and film in a way that's been described as a living theatrical experimental masterpiece. He is the visionary behind secret cinema, which is just about the most exciting thing to happen to movies since the invention of the microphone. Fabian, what were you trying to do?
I think we were trying to create a theatrical experience where the audience want to actually become part of a film, to live the film. I always had this dream as a child when I used to go to the cinema. It was kind of the journey of going to the cinema and the relationship between the screen and your ideas. And actually there was no difference as a child. And the idea that if you could go to the cinema and actually become part of a film, create within it, and play the characters and interact with characters, touch it. So it was really kind of, I guess, a reaction to where I think cinema has become in terms of exhibition, in terms of it becoming a little bit, I guess, too formulaic, too commercial. You know, these big multiplexes, which are fantastic in their own right, but I don't think they represent the magic or the mystery around cinema.
So you and a team of up to 150 actors and creators make a world of the film. So, for example, Shawshank Redemption. Where did you do that film screening?
With Shawshank, we did that in an old school in Victoria Park called Cardinal Pole. It was going to be abandoned for a year, and Hackney Council very, very kindly said that we could use it. And the idea was I wanted to play with the idea of prison, so we actually partnered with Amnesty International. And the idea was to let the audience feel what it's like to go into prison. And I wanted the audience to be sentenced to a crime that they didn't commit in front of a judge in a court, which we turned the top of Bethnal Green Library into a courthouse, and then taken into blacked out buses to this school, which is kind of reminds me of school, prison.
Which you turned into a prison.
Which we turned into a living and breathing prison, where the audience were stripped to their long johns and then locked up and then they had to literally survive and play this game. And each audience was given a character, so whether you were male or female, you were male living in the 50s in America. And then they were there to go into work detail, where we had different creative organisations working on crafts, creating, like, we actually did a candle making. So people had to work, and then we created these products that then became sold in aid of charity. So it's the idea of the audience becoming creators and activists, and that culture means something more than, you know, Despicable Me Too, which I'm sure is a glorious film, and I love it very much.
And so having had this huge immersive experience and having to eat prison food, and actually some of them even slept the night after it in a prison cell, they then watched the film on a great big screen. And so by the time the movie comes up, that's 500 people in the audience who are prisoners and are sort of living and breathing it.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, the film comes to life. So they live inside the film and then it comes to life. But what's nice is that during Shawshank Redemption, there's a screening of a Rita Hayworth film. So essentially, it was literally that came to life. And during the beer sequence, where Andy Dufresne persuades the guards to get the beer, we gave everyone a beer at that specific time. And there were no bars. The audience had to bribe, using corrupt library cards, some of the wardens to get alcohol and food. So we did have burgers and hot dogs, but they had to bribe them. It was all part of the game.
Okay, so you then screened One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Where did you do that one?
We did that in an old hospital, Princess Louise Hospital in North London, in Kensington, actually.
Can I ask you a quick question? Are all the shows in...
I
know. Are they all in London? Because I bet there are people all around the country now just saying, can we do this?
We have done it in Edinburgh and also in Brighton and Bristol, but we are now looking to scale the whole thing. We're looking to launch in New York next year. We want to turn it into a much bigger project now.
To get back to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Thank you. So you took over this hospital and you made the audience mental patients.
We did. We actually created a website, and we create these sort of parallel worlds. So we create this thing called the New Wellbeing Foundation. We worked again with a charity called Mind, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the most truthful film about mental health, and a groundbreaking film. And we wanted the audience again to feel what it was like to. So we actually worked with different artists, some who had mental illness, to create these different wards. And the audience, because it was in a highly residential area, we had to smuggle them in because it was part of this strange ECT program that we created, which was actually during that time. So everyone was quiet when they came in, and then when they arrived into the hospital, there were like 40 actors who were all asleep, so the whole hospital was dark, and then they were smuggled into rooms, and then it was like wake up time, it was medicine time, etc. But the other thing about what we do is very much about space, and I think about how there's so much abandoned space which is not being used in the heart of London, in the heart of most cities. There are these amazing buildings that sometimes are just empty for years whilst developers think about what they're going to do. And I think for us it's about creating experiences in these abandoned places where people can really come together and connect, like as humans, rather than, I guess, just through virtual social media platforms.
Well, like when you did Brazil, you took over an abandoned 13-storey office building, didn't you, in Croydon?
Yeah.
And turned the whole thing into a government building.
Yeah, we did it. We took over this old ex-BT building where it was empty for 9 years. It was actually opposite the Home Office, which was perfect for Brazil, and we turned in about 6 weeks, to the amazement of our team, who some of the most hardworking creative teams I think out there, into the world of the Ministry of Information. And actually Terry Gilliam came, and we got stuck in one of the lifts, and that was quite tragic, but he blamed it on the Department of Works. It was kind of but no, we turned this whole building into the world of the film, and the audience essentially were given 9 different jobs in 9 different departments, and the game was how they could discover romance and magic and beauty in this very sort of bureaucratic dystopian world, and then we showed the film on 600 screens. So it was the idea of playing with the fact that we're constantly following our screens and no longer necessarily our dreams.
Can you give us a scoop on any ones you've got coming up?
Well, currently we've got Ghostbusters, which is, so we have 2 sides, Future Cinema and Secret Cinema, and that's the non-secret side, and that's at we're doing that at the Troxy in Limehouse, and we've turned it into the Sedgwick Hotel, and the audience are attending a 1984 New York Fashion Week party. In fact, loads of people are trying to buy tickets who live in New York, so we've created a New York newspaper website thing.
And are there actual ghosts all over the building?
It's got serious ghost problems, yeah.
It also can get quite sexy. I mean, I know you did Grease and Dirty Dancing, where you were teaching the audience how to do all the dirty dancing. Did that ever turn into an orgy?
Dirty Dancing was an incredibly pressured experience, because there was we had 12,000, mostly women, come to the show, and we actually got, I think it was 5,000 audience to dance, and I've never seen women behave like that.
Well, they all took their tops off, didn't they?
It was.
What?
I mean, the security guards.
It was amazing.
Our security team are begging us to do it again. I think that night, many of their marriages probably suffered.
Fabian Riggle, it's been. Yeah. I think I might be blushing.
Emma Freud, Fabian, thank you so very much.